Listen closely, because this message is arriving at the exact moment your spirit has been reaching for something deeper, something clearer, something undeniably divine. You haven't stumbled onto this word by coincidence. You were drawn here, pulled by a quiet stirring inside you, a whisper that has been telling you again and again that the things happening around you are not random. The delays weren't accidental. The disappointments weren't meaningless. The twists, the turns, the sudden shifts you couldn't explain. They were all part of a setup far bigger than what you could see. There's a holy urgency in the atmosphere around your life right now. It feels like the ground beneath you has been moving, rearranging, preparing itself for something you can't quite name yet, but you can feel it. The alignment, the pressure, the unexpected encounters, the closing of one door and the subtle unlocking of another. All of it has been pointing to one truth: God has been orchestrating every step. You've been walking through moments that didn't make sense. You questioned the timing. You doubted the silence. You wondered why certain connections fell apart while others out of nowhere appeared at just the right moment. But what you didn't realize is that you were being positioned precisely, intentionally, lovingly. Heaven has been arranging the pieces of your life like a divine puzzle, each part fitting together in ways that will only make sense in hindsight. Right now you are standing on the edge of revelation. Something inside you knows that what felt like chaos was actually choreography. What felt like loss was actually alignment. What looked like detours were doorways. And while you may not have seen the hand of God clearly, in the moment you're about to understand why every step unfolded the way it did. This is not just encouragement, this is confirmation. The setup was divine. The preparation was sacred. The steps you took, even the ones you thought were mistakes, were woven into a plan designed long before you knew to pray for clarity. You're not late. You're not behind. You're not forgotten. You are exactly where you're meant to be in this hour. And before this message ends, you will see it clearly. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was overlooked. Every step, every shift, every silence has been pointing you toward a divine unveiling. So breathe. Because what you're about to hear will not only explain your past, but illuminate your next chapter. And as this truth begins to settle into your spirit, let your heart become aware of something even deeper. This message is not emerging from imagination, emotion, or mere inspiration. It carries the weight of divine intention. There is a reason it found you in this exact moment, in this exact season, when you've been wrestling with questions that seem too heavy for human answers. The timing alone is proof that heaven has stepped into your story again, not loudly, not forcefully, but with a gentle precision that only God Himself can orchestrate. You've felt the pull. You've sensed the shift. You've known in ways you couldn't fully explain that something higher has been guiding you. Even in the quiet moments when no one else understood what you were going through, you sensed a presence that refused to leave you, nudging you forward, holding you up, steadying you through storms you didn't think you could survive. This message comes from that very presence. It comes from the one who authored your beginning and has already seen your ending. It comes from the one who knows every hidden battle, every silent tear, every unspoken prayer that you buried deep inside your chest when you didn't have words left to offer. You haven't been walking alone. You haven't been guessing your way through life. You've been guided step by step, breath by breath, by a divine hand that refuses to abandon what it has chosen, protected, and destined. And now, in this sacred moment, that same divine hand is lifting the veil so you can finally see the truth. Your steps were ordered long before you recognized the path beneath your feet. Everything within you can feel it. Not because someone told you, not because you read it somewhere, but because your spirit recognizes the voice of the one who created it. When God speaks directly, personally, intimately, it doesn't sound like noise. It sounds like home. It resonates in the places inside you that nothing else reaches. And that resonance you feel right now, that warmth, that stirring, that sudden sense of clarity rising within you, that is confirmation that this message flows from divine authority. You are being invited deeper, invited into understanding, invited into revelation, because the moment you recognize God's fingerprints on your past, you begin to see His direction for your future with new eyes. And that is what this message is here to do, to reveal the divine pattern behind your steps, the heavenly strategy behind your delays, and the sacred purpose behind the setup that felt confusing while you were in it. There is nothing random about the season you have been living through. There is nothing accidental about the doors that opened or the ones that slammed shut. God has been aligning you with precision, aligning people, moments, opportunities, and even obstacles to bring you to the turning point you now stand before. Heaven is speaking. Heaven is revealing. Heaven is pulling back the curtain. And as this revelation unfolds, you will understand why every step mattered and why the next steps will be even more divinely guided than the ones before. Now that your spirit is awake and your heart is open, let the revelation begin to unfold. You've been sensing a shift, a quiet turning in the atmosphere, something you can't fully name yet. You feel it pressing against your reality, waiting to break through. That sensation is not imagination. It is divine movement. Heaven has been setting something in motion on your behalf, and the time has come for the veil to lift. What is rising in your life now is the result of everything you endured, everything you survived, and everything you refused to give up on. The setup you walked through, the confusion, the delay, the sudden reroutes was not random turbulence. It was divine engineering. And this is the moment when God begins to reveal the reason behind it. The prophecy is this: you are stepping into the season where every hidden alignment becomes visible. Every concealed preparation becomes purposeful. And every step you took, especially the painful ones, becomes part of a divine unveiling designed just for you. There is a blessing that has been growing beneath the surface of your life, a breakthrough that has been forming quietly like a seed in dark soil. You didn't see it, but heaven was nurturing it. You didn't feel it, but angels were guarding it. You didn't understand it, but God was orchestrating it. And now that seed is breaking open. This is the season where what was buried begins to bloom, where what was delayed begins to accelerate, where what was hidden becomes undeniable. You may not have realized it, but in the Spirit, your name has been called. Heaven has released instruction, movement, and momentum concerning your life. The doors that refused to open before are beginning to respond. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers are circling back, realigned and restructured according to God's timing. The connections that dissolved suddenly were stepping stones, not losses. Heaven removed what could not accompany you into what's coming. You have been guided, shaped, positioned, sometimes painfully, so you could arrive at this moment ready, not fragile, strong, not scattered, clear, not confused. And now the divine setup is turning into divine revelation. The prophecy speaks of a shift unlike the ones you've known. Not a small change, not a gentle transition, but a holy turning and undeniable movement in the direction of your destiny. In the days ahead, you will notice things shifting quickly. You may not even have time to process it all. Divine speed is replacing delay. Divine clarity is replacing confusion. Divine alignment is replacing chaos. And in the midst of all of this movement, there is a deeper truth being unveiled. God planned this moment long before you entered the battle that made you doubt your place in His story. The very pressures that felt like punishment were actually preparation. The silence that felt like abandonment was actually protection. The losses that felt devastating were actually redirections. Every moment was leading you toward this unveiling. Picture it now, the invisible becoming visible, the unclear becoming unmistakable, the uncertain becoming divinely obvious. It's like standing in a room where the lights suddenly turn on. You begin to see what was there all along, but hidden in shadows. This is what's happening in your life. Clarity is coming. Direction is coming. Confirmation is coming. Breakthrough is coming. But more than anything, revelation is coming. God is about to reveal why He took you the long way, why He removed certain people from your path, why He shut doors you prayed would stay open, why He kept you hidden when your heart was ready to be seen, why He allowed you to walk through seasons that felt like loss, only to lead you into an outcome that looks like destiny. This is the prophecy. The setup was divine because the outcome is sacred. What's being prepared for you has weight, purpose, and impact. What's unfolding ahead is not fleeting, not fragile, and not ordinary. It is something heaven constructed with intention, something that could only be delivered at the right moment in the right season, when you were spiritually mature enough to carry it. And now, that moment has arrived. The unveiling has begun. The shift is in motion, and your spirit can already feel the ground beneath you changing. As the veil lifts and the divine setup becomes clearer, let's go deeper beyond the surface, beyond the events themselves, into the spiritual architecture behind everything you've lived through. Because nothing God does is shallow. Nothing He allows is random. Every moment of your journey has been infused with meaning, even when it felt meaningless. Every season had a purpose, even when it felt empty. Every step carried weight, even when it seemed small. To understand what is unfolding in your life now, you must understand this principle. God designs your path with the end already in mind, not with the insecurity of someone hoping things work out, but with the certainty of a Creator who plans with perfect foresight. When He sets you apart, He does it with intention. When He calls you, He calls every detail of your story into alignment. When He prepares you, He prepares the world around you at the same time. The divine setup you walked through wasn't simply about getting you somewhere, it was about making you someone. Someone stronger, someone clearer, someone refined, someone ready for what He planned long ago. And this is where the deeper symbolism of your journey becomes visible. Think of the storm. Storms are often disruptive, sudden, and overwhelming. They tear down the weak, expose the unstable, and test the foundations. But spiritually, storms are divine tools. They shake away what cannot stand. They reveal what must be rebuilt. They strengthen what remains. Your life has seen storms not to destroy you, but to cleanse, clarify, and prepare you. Think of the closed doors. You saw them as rejections, as missed chances, as lost blessings. But spiritually closed doors are often the loudest form of protection. God shut what you begged Him to open because He saw what you couldn't. He removed what looked appealing because it would have drained you. He redirected you from paths that led to distraction, not destiny. Think of the silence. Those quiet seasons when heaven seemed still, when prayers echoed back without answers, when you wondered if God had stepped away. Spiritually, silence is a classroom. It is where you learn to hear God without noise, without confirmation, without signs. Silence grows discernment. Silence strengthens trust. Silence deepens your spiritual senses. What felt like absence was actually formation. Think of the waiting. Waiting is not passive. It is spiritual weightlifting. It builds endurance. It sharpens vision. It purifies motives. It stretches faith. And the reason your wait was long is because what God is giving you has longevity. Quick blessings don't last, but the blessings that require preparation become pillars in your destiny. Think of the unexpected turns, the reroutes, the delays, the sudden shifts spiritually. These are divine recalibrations. When your path drifted away from where God needed you to be, He redirected you. He moved pieces. He changed environments. He brought endings to push you into beginnings. Divine recalibration often feels like chaos, but it is actually choreography, heaven's way of restoring alignment. Now consider this. Every symbol, every season, every shift has been pointing you toward divine timing. Because in the spiritual realm, timing is everything. God doesn't give blessings when you're eager. He gives them when you're ready. He doesn't release breakthroughs when you want them. He releases them when they will shape your destiny, not sabotage it. That is why your path has been slow, intentional, stretched, refined. Because what's coming carries purpose. But let's go even deeper. Below the events of your life exists a spiritual narrative, a thread woven through your experiences connecting moments you didn't realize were connected. The heartbreak that forced you inward. The opportunity you thought you lost. The person who left unexpectedly. The job that fell through. The dream that took longer than you imagined. None of these were isolated events. They were chapters in a holy story, each one necessary for the next. In spiritual terms, this is called alignment through refinement. Refinement strips away what weakens you. Alignment positions you for what strengthens you. God never aligns without refining first. This is why the setup was divine. He was refining your character, shaping your resilience, sharpening your discernment, purifying your intentions, and strengthening your spirit, so that when the blessing arrives, you don't sabotage it. You steward it. Think of light. Light reveals. Light exposes. Light clarifies. And right now, God is shining a new light over your past, not to condemn it, but to illuminate its purpose. The light reveals that everything you endured carried meaning. Everything that broke you actually rebuilt you. Everything that stretched you prepared you. And now the same light that revealed your past is guiding your future. Think of seasons. Winter protected the seed. Spring awakened it. Summer nurtured it. Fall prepared it for harvest. You've lived through your spiritual winter and spring. You've walked through the heat of summer. And now, the signs of harvest are starting to surface. The meaning behind your path is simple, yet profound. The divine setup was never about loss. It was about positioning. Never about confusion. It was about preparation. Never about delay. It was about perfect timing. Everything in your life has been leading you here. And the next part of this journey will make the meaning behind your struggles impossible to ignore. And as the meaning behind your journey comes into focus, something else begins to rise within you, recognition, a quiet awareness, a sense that some of what you've been feeling, seeing, and experiencing lately has not been ordinary. These were not coincidences. These were signs. Subtle, yes, but intentional. Gentle, yes, but undeniable to a spirit that has been trained through fire. When God prepares to unveil what He has set in motion, He does not leave you unaware. He begins to send signals, spiritual indicators that whisper, pay attention. Something is shifting. And if you look closely, you'll recognize that some of these signs have already been appearing in your life. Let these signs be confirmation that heaven has been moving on your behalf. 1. A sudden restlessness that doesn't feel like anxiety. You've felt it, an inner stirring, a subtle discomfort with where you are, not because something is wrong, but because something new is emerging. You can sense that the season you're in no longer fits you. Restlessness is often the soul's way of preparing you for divine movement. It's heaven tapping your shoulder, telling you it's almost time. 2. Opportunities appearing in unexpected ways, not through the channels you anticipated, not through the people you expected, but through surprising, almost unusual pathways. These moments feel too precise to be random, too timely to be coincidental. When doors open in ways you didn't plan, that's often God revealing that your steps are being directed beyond human influence. 3. Emotional clarity appearing after long confusion. Where you once felt overwhelmed or directionless, there has been a sudden clearing. A calmness that doesn't make sense considering everything happening around you. This clarity is not coming from your thoughts. It's coming from your spirit. It's God settling your heart because He is settling your path. 4. The removal of certain people or distractions. Some connections drifted, some environments shifted, some relationships dissolved with little explanation. At the time it hurt, but now you're starting to sense it wasn't rejection. It was redirection. When God separates you from what cannot go with you, He does it for your protection and preparation. 5. A rise in spiritual sensitivity. Your intuition has sharpened. Your discernment has grown. You're noticing things you once overlooked. You're feeling things before they happen. This heightened sensitivity is not accidental. It's a sign that your spirit is aligning with heaven's frequencies. A feeling of being watched over, even in silence. Moments where, despite not understanding everything, you felt an unexplainable peace, as if something unseen was guiding you, covering you, preparing you. That peace is not emotional. It is divine. It is the signature of God's nearness. These signs are not random flickers of emotion. They are confirmations, quiet evidence that the divine setup is already unfolding around you. You are not waiting for God to begin. He has already begun. The signs have been there, signaling that alignment is near, breakthrough is forming, and your steps are being drawn into a new direction. And as these signs grow stronger, the journey may shift. Not into ease, but into preparation. Because just before fulfillment comes, the hidden battle, the challenges, designed not to stop you, but to strengthen you. And now that the signs have begun to reveal themselves, you must understand something essential about the journey ahead before the divine plan fully unfolds. There are always hidden challenges, not because God is withholding blessing, but because He is strengthening the vessel that will carry it. Every great unveiling comes with a moment of tension. Every divine elevation is preceded by a spiritual test. These challenges are not punishments, they are confirmations that you are close. You may have already begun to feel some of them. They're subtle at first, but unmistakable to the spirit that has endured much and learned much. Let's name them so, when they rise, you won't mistake them for setbacks. 1. The tension between where you are and what you sense is coming. This is one of the most common hidden battles. Your spirit feels ready, but your circumstances look unchanged. You can sense movement, but you cannot see results yet. This tension is spiritual stretching. God pulling you forward internally before shifting things externally. Don't misinterpret this discomfort. It is a sign of proximity, not delay. 2. The resurfacing of old doubts or insecurities. Right before breakthrough, your mind may attempt to revisit old wounds, old fears, old lies you thought you had overcome. This is not regression. It is resistance, the last push of darkness trying to distract you before the light fully breaks through. Recognize it for what it is, the enemy's final attempt to shake what God has already secured. 3. The feeling of isolation or sudden quietness around you. Not loneliness, but isolation. A drawing inward. A sense that fewer people understand where you are or what you're becoming. This isn't abandonment. It's consecration. God is setting you apart for clarity, for protection, for refinement. When he prepares to elevate you, he often reduces the noise. 4. Small obstacles appearing out of nowhere. Not catastrophic attacks, just enough friction to make you wonder if you're on the right path. Unexpected delays, minor complications, emotional heaviness. These challenges are spiritual resistance points meant to strengthen your resolve. If the enemy isn't fighting you, it's because you're not a threat. Your recent challenges are proof that you are. A feeling of being stretched beyond your comfort. Spiritually, emotionally, even mentally, you may feel pulled in ways you're not used to. This stretching is divine preparation. God is enlarging your capacity before He enlarges your blessing. He is making sure you can hold what He's about to place in your hands. And here is the truth that will sustain you through every hidden challenge. These battles are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that something is right. You're not being punished. You're not being blocked. You're not being denied. You're being prepared. The challenges you're facing now are the final refining moments before clarity, breakthrough, and divine instruction begin to unfold. They are heaven's way of strengthening your spirit so that when the blessing arrives, you will stand in it with confidence, wisdom, and unwavering faith. And in the midst of these challenges, God does not leave you without direction. There are steps you must take, actions you must embrace, not out of fear, but out of readiness. The divine instruction is coming, and it will clarify exactly how to walk into what has already been prepared for you. Before the unveiling comes into full view, before the blessing manifests, before the breakthrough solidifies, before the divine setup becomes undeniable, there are instructions heaven is placing before you. These are not burdens. These are not heavy commands. They are invitations, sacred steps designed to align your spirit with what God has already prepared. Because for every destiny-shifting moment, there is always a moment of preparation, and this is your moment. Listen closely, because these steps are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to empower you. Each one carries purpose. Each one carries protection. Each one prepares the ground for what's coming. 1. Stay spiritually sensitive. You've likely felt it already, your discernment sharpening your intuition, rising your spirit, becoming more alert. This is not accidental. God needs you attentive. He needs your inner ear open. Pay attention to the nudges, the small warnings, the gentle confirmations. In this season, clarity won't always come through loud signs. Sometimes it will come through a whisper, a feeling, a sudden knowing. Honor those moments. They are heaven's signals guiding your steps. 2. Release what God has already removed. This instruction requires courage, honesty, and surrender. There are people habits, environments, and even dreams that God has subtly been pulling away from your path. Don't chase what heaven has already dismissed. Don't cling to what God has already closed. Your next chapter requires hands that are open, not holding tightly to what cannot go with you. Release is not loss. Release is alignment. Release is trust. 3. Protect your atmosphere. Your spirit is in a sensitive place right now, tender, awakened, receptive. You cannot afford to let negativity, fear, or confusion contaminate what God is building inside you. Protect your peace ruthlessly. Guard your energy carefully. Be selective about who you speak to, what you listen to, what you consume, and where you place your attention. Atmosphere determines growth, and your destiny requires fertile soil, not chaotic noise. 4. Strengthen your prayer life. This is not about long, complicated prayers. It's about consistency, connection, intention. Speak to God daily, even briefly. Pour out your heart. Ask for guidance. Express gratitude. Prayer in this season is your spiritual compass. It keeps you aligned when emotions shift. It keeps you grounded when life becomes loud. It keeps you focused when distractions rise. And more than that, Prayer opens your spirit to see what your eyes cannot. 5. Embrace uncomfortable obedience. Sometimes God will ask you to do things that feel unfamiliar, to take steps that feel too big, to move in directions that require faith, not logic. When the instruction feels uncomfortable, remember this truth. Growth always begins outside comfort. Obedience unlocks what fear tries to keep hidden. And in this season, obedience is not optional. It is catalytic. It activates the next stage of your breakthrough. 6. Prepare as if the blessing is already here. This is one of the most powerful instructions you will ever receive. Preparation is a prophetic act. When you prepare, you declare spiritually, I believe what God said is coming. Organize your life. Clean your space. Rework your plans. Position your finances. Strengthen your mindset. God responds to faith in preparation is faith in motion. Act like the door is already opening. Move like the opportunity is already being released. Think like the blessing is already on its way. 7. Keep your heart soft and your spirit humble. Elevation requires softness. Growth requires humility. God is raising you, but He is raising you in a way that protects you from pride, resentment, or spiritual blindness. Keep your heart gentle. Keep your spirit teachable. Keep your intentions pure. A humble spirit attracts divine favor, divine clarity, and divine acceleration. All these instructions have one purpose: to align your inner world with the outer blessing God is bringing. Because what is coming is not small. It is not temporary. It is not fragile. It is something that will shift the trajectory of your life, elevate your purpose, and confirm what your spirit has known for a long time. God planned every step. And as you follow these divine instructions, you will begin to notice something extraordinary, a shield forming around you, a peace settling over you, a protection rising on every side. For the next part of your journey, heaven is not only instructing you, heaven is guarding you. As you follow the instructions set before you, something sacred begins to take shape, a covering, a shield, a divine barrier rising around your spirit. Because God never calls you forward without surrounding you. He never asks you to step into a new chapter without reinforcing your protection. And right now, heaven is strengthening the walls around your life in ways you may not fully see, but you can certainly feel. There is a peace moving toward you, even in the middle of uncertainty. A calmness settling over you, even as life continues to shift. This peace is not something you're generating. It's something God is placing on you. It's the reassurance that you're not walking into your next season alone. You're stepping into it with divine backup, divine security, divine guardianship. You may have sensed it already, moments where fear tried to rise, but something stronger pushed it back. Moments where confusion tried to cloud your mind, but clarity broke through unexpectedly. These are not coincidences. They are signs of divine protection actively operating in your life. Heaven is watching over you with intentionality. Angels have been assigned to you in this hour, not as distant symbols, but as present help. You are being covered on every side, shielded from attacks you never saw, protected from paths you were never meant to walk, guarded from harm that never reached you, because God blocked it long before you were aware of the danger. There is a layer of divine assurance surrounding you now, whispering, you are safe. You are covered. You are guided. Even when the path feels unfamiliar. Even when the steps feel uncertain. Even when you can't see the full picture yet. This is not the season where the enemy gets access to your mind, your purpose, or your progress. God has drawn a boundary around your life. The things that once overwhelmed you will not overwhelm you now. The attacks that once discouraged you will no longer carry the same power. Even the mistakes you fear making are cushioned by grace, because God isn't just guiding your steps, He's guarding them. Picture it like this. A soft but powerful light encircles you. A presence walks beside you, steady and unwavering. A shield rises ahead of you, blocking what you cannot see. A strength follows behind you, sealing off what you've left behind. You are surrounded. And this protection is not temporary. It is not fragile. It is not conditional. It is part of the divine setup, because what God is bringing you into is too valuable to be exposed, too purposeful to be vulnerable, too sacred to be left unguarded. So breathe, and let this assurance settle into your spirit. You are not stepping into your future alone. You are stepping into it wrapped in divine protection, guided by divine wisdom and carried by divine strength. What comes next will require courage, yes, but you will not face it without heavenly covering. Your transformation is near, and heaven will walk with you into every part of it. And now, with protection surrounding you and divine instruction guiding you, your spirit begins to feel something you may not have felt in a long time: readiness. A quiet readiness, a sacred readiness, a soul-level readiness that whispers, something is about to shift. This isn't hope based on emotion, it's alignment based on destiny. Heaven is preparing to reveal the fulfillment of everything the setup was leading you toward. Your transformation is not coming. It has already begun. You can feel it in the way your thoughts are changing, the way your spirit responds differently to what once overwhelmed you, the way your heart no longer clings to what isn't aligned. Growth has been happening subtly, then, suddenly. Strength has been rising inside you, not loud and dramatic, but steady and quiet like dawn, slowly overtaking the night. And this is the beauty of divine transformation. It rarely begins with external change. It begins within. It begins in the unseen. It begins with a subtle shifting of identity, vision, and clarity. God has been transforming you from the inside out so that when the blessing arrives, you will not shrink beneath its weight, you will rise to meet it. The trials you endured didn't break you. They built you. The delays didn't weaken you. They deepened you. The losses didn't diminish you. They purified you. All of it was preparation for a version of you that is now emerging. In the days ahead, you will begin to notice the effects of this transformation in tangible ways. Your confidence will rise without explanation. Not arrogance, but divine assurance. A steady knowing that you are aligned with purpose and protected by heaven. Your relationships will shift. People who resonate with your new season will be drawn toward you effortlessly. Those who cannot go with you will drift away peacefully. Connections will become clearer, healthier, and more intentional. Opportunities will respond to your presence. Doors that once resisted you will open with grace. Things that were hard to obtain will begin to flow. What felt distant will begin moving toward you. This is not coincidence, it is divine timing. Catching up to divine preparation, your spirit will recognize moments faster. Where you once hesitated, you will now move with clarity. Where you once doubted, you will now discern. Where you once battled fear, you will now walk with boldness. This is transformation. Not just change, but elevation. Not just improvement, but alignment. Not just growth, but fulfillment. And as you step into this new place, you will begin to see the divine setup unfold in real time. You will realize that nothing you lived through was wasted. The heartbreak refined you. The silence strengthened you. The waiting matured you. The setbacks redirected you. And every moment that puzzled you will suddenly make sense in the light of what God is bringing to pass. The fulfillment ahead is not small. It is not symbolic. It is not theoretical. It will be visible. It will be felt. It will be undeniable. There will be a moment soon when you will look back and say, Now I see why it had to happen this way. Now I understand the setup. Now I recognize the plan. Your transformation is the proof. Your elevation will be the confirmation. Your fulfillment will be the testimony. And what God is about to reveal in your life will not only change your circumstances, it will change your identity. You will walk differently, think differently, carry yourself differently. Because when God completes a work in you, He doesn't just improve you, He unveils you. You are stepping into the chapter that your past has been preparing you for. You are walking into the fulfillment of promises whispered over your life long ago. You are rising into the version of yourself that heaven has been shaping in secret. And soon, the blessing, the breakthrough, the unveiling, you will see it with your own eyes. As this message reaches its final breath, let your spirit settle into the truth of everything spoken over you. You have walked through storms, silent stretching and refinement, but none of it was without purpose. You have been guided, protected, shaped, and prepared for a season that is no longer ahead of you, but now unfolding around you. Before you move forward, before you take your next step into this divine alignment, speak these affirmations softly, boldly, or silently within your heart. Let them anchor you in what heaven has already declared. Affirmation 1. Every step of my journey has been divinely guided. Let this remind you that nothing was random. Not a moment, not a tear, not a shift. Every step, even the confusing ones, carried intention. Affirmation 2. I am protected, prepared, and perfectly aligned with my purpose. This is your truth. Your spirit has been refined. Your path has been cleared. Heaven is covering you as you walk forward. Affirmation 3. What God planned for me, no one can prevent. Not delay, not fear, not opposition, not past mistakes. What is meant for you carries divine backing. Affirmation 4. I step boldly into the future God ordained for me. This is the declaration that shifts your posture into readiness, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Take a breath now. Let peace settle into the deepest parts of you. Let assurance fill every empty space. Because the blessing that is coming is not fragile, it is fortified. The breakthrough on the horizon is not temporary, it is anchored in destiny. The unveiling ahead is not subtle, it is powerful, clear, and undeniably divine. And now receive this blessing. May the path before you open with grace and divine precision. May every step you take be guided by wisdom, illuminated by clarity, and strengthened by faith. May the protection of heaven surround you like a shield before you, behind you, and on every side. May your heart remain soft, your mind remain steady, and your spirit remain courageous as you enter the season prepared for you since the beginning. May everything that once confused you become clear. May everything that once resisted you begin to flow. May everything that once felt delayed return in divine timing, multiplied and matured. You are walking into fulfillment. You are rising into purpose. You are stepping into the divine plan prepared for you because the setup was holy. The journey was intentional and the blessing is assured. Go forward in peace. Go forward in expectation. Go forward knowing God planned every step. Amen.